Retiring in El Salvador is no longer the risky idea many Americans remember. Over the past few years, the country has undergone one of the biggest transformations in Latin America. Crime has fallen dramatically, infrastructure has improved, and the government has introduced policies designed to attract foreign retirees and investors. Combined with a US dollar economy, low taxes, and affordable living costs, El Salvador is now becoming a serious retirement option for Americans looking to stretch their retirement income. But before making the move, you need to understand the residency rules, taxes, healthcare, and what daily life is really like. Let's start with residency. Most American retirees qualify through the Pensionado program. To be eligible, you need a guaranteed lifetime pension of at least $1,095 per month. Social security benefits, military pensions, government pensions, corporate pensions, and lifetime annuities all qualify. Once approved, you receive legal residency but cannot work for a local employer, although limited consulting and teaching activities are generally allowed. If you are not receiving a pension but have reliable passive income, the Rentista program may be a better option. This requires at least $1,460 per month from sources such as rental income, stock dividends, interest, royalties, or even verified cryptocurrency income. Both residency programs can eventually lead to Salvadoran citizenship after 5 years of continuous residency if you meet the physical presence requirements. For wealthy investors, El Salvador also offers the Freedom Visa program. Instead of proving monthly income, applicants make a one-time contribution of $1 million in Bitcoin or Tether to a government development fund. The program has no residency requirement and offers an accelerated path to citizenship. But for most retirees, the Pensionado route remains the practical choice. Applying for residency requires preparation. Americans must provide an apostilled birth certificate, an apostilled FBI or state background check, proof of pension or passive income, 6 months of bank statements, a valid passport, and official Spanish translations for many documents. Applicants also complete a medical examination inside El Salvador before submitting everything in person to the country's immigration authority. Now let's talk about taxes, because this is one of El Salvador's biggest advantages. In 2024, El Salvador introduced major tax reforms that made the country one of the most tax-friendly retirement destinations in the Americas. Foreign source income is completely exempt from Salvadoran income tax. That means your US. Social security benefits, pensions, dividends, capital gains, rental income, and overseas investment income are generally not taxed by El Salvador. The country only taxes income earned inside El Salvador itself. However, moving to El Salvador does not end your US tax obligations. The United States taxes citizens regardless of where they live, so retirees must continue filing annual IRS tax returns. If your foreign bank accounts exceed $10,000 during the year, you must also file an FBAR. Higher value foreign assets may also require Form 8938 under FATCA rules. Maintaining compliance with both countries is essential because Salvadoran banks cooperate with US reporting requirements. Now let's look at the cost of living. This is one of El Salvador's biggest advantages. A single retiree can live comfortably on roughly $1,100 to $2,400 per month, depending on location and lifestyle. Couples generally spend between $1,700 and $3,600 per month. Rent is especially affordable outside the capital. Inland cities and mountain towns often offer one-bedroom apartments for $300 to $500 per month, while premium neighbourhoods in San Salvador and beachfront communities naturally cost more. Because the country uses the US dollar, retirees never have to worry about currency fluctuations affecting their monthly budget. Now, let's talk about healthcare, because this is one area where many retirees are pleasantly surprised. El Salvador has both public and private healthcare systems. While the public system is inexpensive, most American retirees choose private hospitals because they offer shorter waiting times, modern equipment, and many English-speaking doctors. San Salvador is home to some of the country's best private hospitals, including Hospital de Diagnóstico and Centro Médico Escalón. Medical care is significantly cheaper than in the United States, with many procedures costing 60 to 80% less. International health insurance from providers like Cigna Global and Blue Cross Blue Shield is widely accepted, with premiums generally ranging from $100 to $500 per month, depending on age and coverage. Since Medicare does not provide coverage in El Salvador, having private insurance and an emergency medical fund is highly recommended. Now let's talk about buying property. Americans can buy real estate in El Salvador with almost the same ownership rights as local citizens. The main restrictions apply to certain border areas, some rural agricultural land, and very large land holdings. Every property purchase must be completed before a licensed notary and registered with the National Property Registry. Before buying, your lawyer should verify that the property has a clean title and no unpaid taxes or legal disputes. One major advantage is that El Salvador does not charge an annual property tax. Buyers only pay the one-time purchase costs, including transfer tax, registration fees, and legal expenses. Many retirees still choose to rent for 6 to 12 months before purchasing a home, so they can explore different regions and decide which lifestyle suits them best. So, should you retire to El Salvador? If you're looking for one of the lowest tax retirement destinations in the Americas, affordable private healthcare, a tropical climate, and a much lower cost of living than the United States, El Salvador deserves serious consideration. The country still requires careful planning. You'll need to prepare residency documents, remain compliant with US tax reporting rules, and choose your location carefully. But for retirees willing to do that, El Salvador offers something that very few countries can match: a dollar-based economy, tax-friendly policies, improving security, and a comfortable retirement lifestyle at a fraction of the cost of living back home.